Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaimudirayet. Ashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Rutamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. Mugdhanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, 331-33. Satyam Shaucham Daya Maunam Buddhishrir Shrir Yashakshama Shamo Damo Bhagascheti Yat Sangadyati Sankshayam. He becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all such opportunities. Who Those who are too addicted to sex life cannot understand the purpose of the absolute truth, nor can they be clean in their habits, not to mention showing mercy to others. So, the other way of reading this verse is that these are qualities which are absolutely required for one to make any kind of progress in spiritual life. Because the highlight here is that one who is too addicted to sex life, he cannot have all these qualities, which means that he gets stuck because of these qualities. They cannot remain grave, they have no interest in the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is Krishna or Vishnu, but those who are addicted to sex life cannot understand that their ultimate interest is Krishna consciousness. Such people have no sense of decency, and even in public streets or public parks, they embrace each other like cats and dogs and pass it off in the name of lovemaking. Such unfortunate creatures can never become materially prosperous. Behavior like that of cats and dogs keeps them in position of cats and dogs. They cannot improve any material condition, not to speak of becoming famous. Such foolish persons may even make a show of so-called yoga, but they are unable to control the senses and mind, which is the real purpose of yoga practice. Such people can have no opulence in their lives. In a word, they are very unfortunate. So, in previous verse, if therefore living entity again associates with the past of unrighteousness, influenced by sensually minded people engaged in the pursuit of sexual enjoyment and the gratification of palate. So we said basically tongue and genitals. He again goes to hell. So what does such a person who's so engaged, he loses all qualities, all these qualities. Truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy. So these qualities actually, most of them Prabhupada is defined in Bhagavad Gita only. Um, yeah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can you be
yeah.
slightly louder?
Louder?
Yes, Prabhu. Please.
Okay, is it better?
No, it's
Hare
the same.
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is this audible?
It's audible, yes, Prabhu, but you're a little
Not
softer today.
softer?
Thoda sa loud, thoda sa,
Oh,
please.
okay. No issues. I don't know if I'm just checking if my wires are okay. Is this okay? I'm louder. Okay, so yeah, so these qualities are very important. So we also have to evaluate ourselves in terms of where we stand with these qualities. Of course, we don't need to do anything really specific about these in the sense that if we are seriously engaged in devotional service, these qualities automatically develop in us. But we have to see these qualities developing. And in fact, we might think that we have all these qualities. Actually, our qualities are actually tested only when we are in the association of devotees. If we are in the association of materialistic people, then we might just mirror them, as in they are also not having these qualities. We also don't seem to be having these qualities, and we won't really. It doesn't stand out, as in it doesn't hit us, right? But when we are in the association of devotees, and obviously devotees who are serious, sincere, would have made progress, and they would be demonstrating all these qualities, then we can see that, oh, I'm not yet developed these qualities, or so we'll. So devotee association has many advantages. And the beauty of devotee association, at least the way it should be ideal, is that without having to state anything, one actually should learn. That's the power of devotee association, right? We don't have to tell, like do this, do that. Just by seeing and learning from advanced devotees, one can one can develop all these qualities. And that is the reason why, devotional service is not something that just happens in the mind. When we read Srila Prabhupada's books, then we understand, we hear, we think about the different things he's saying. And when we are in the association devotees, we actually either see them already being put into practice by other advanced devotees, or we ourselves will have to put them into practice, right? Um, so either way. So and that's how, and we should learn, we should learn. Yeah, so those who are devoid of all these qualities, they are just very unfortunate. Teshu shanteshu mudeshu kandhitatmasvadhushu sangam na kuryat tocheshu yoshit krida mrigeshu cha. One should not associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. Mm. Restriction of association with such foolish persons is especially meant for those who are in the line of advancement in Krishna consciousness. These are foolish people, who are just running behind tongue and genitals. They're foolish people, and one should not who is actually, in line of advancement. If one wants to make progress in spiritual life, should not associate with such people. Just have as much basic required dealings, if at all it's required. If it can be avoided, then it's perfect. But if it cannot be fully avoided, like I said, we don't get affected, influenced by them. We'll just deal with them transactionally. That's all. But dadati pratigrihnati guhyam makyati pruchati bhungte bhojete chaiva. Giving something, taking something in return, calling them for prasadam, whatever. Yeah, all those things should not be done with these people. It should be done only with devotees. With outside people, just, yeah, like, okay, business transaction, that's all, as much as is required. Advancement in Krishna consciousness involves, like, yeah, so speaking about this, developing the qualities of truthfulness, cleanliness, etc., that we saw in the previous verse. All these qualities are to be manifested with the progress of Krishna consciousness. But if one associates with a Shudra, a foolish person who is like a dancing dog in the hands of a woman, then he cannot make any progress. Lord Chaitanya has advised that any person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and who desires to pass beyond material nescience must not associate himself with women or with persons interested in material enjoyment. And of course, I mean, not associate himself with. So wherever in mm, Shastra where there is mention of women, like the average women who are just interested in family, husband, and these kind of looking for sense gratification and no inclination towards spiritual life. It's referring to those, right? And of course, I mean, even in devotee families, mm, so both husband and wife, if they are completely dedicated towards spiritual life, then yeah, then we don't have to apply these qualities to them, because obviously then we are, dealing with each other at the level of the soul. Um, but we should not engage in sense gratification. This is very important. At least so in a family, at least one person between the husband and wife should be a little bit more advanced. I'm saying either of them because it's not mandatory that only the the male is advanced. Many times women are more advanced than men at home, and somehow mm, pull along so that we don't get stuck in material enjoyment. Basically, that's the whole problem, right? So tongue, the genitals, sense enjoyment. That's all. That is this material world. So we should not associate with such people. Mm. For a person seeking advancement in Krishna consciousness, such association is more dangerous than suicide. But doesn't look like we look at this association in such a drastic manner. I think it's more dangerous than suicide, isn't it? I mean, it just looks like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, yeah, they're there, and yeah, many devotees don't even take, like, for example, eating non-prasadam as a serious. Actually, eating non-prasadam is more dangerous than suicide. Associating with these kind of people is more dangerous than suicide because suicide just results in losing the body, but spiritual downfall means losing the soul. Um, so it's worse than that. So we have to be very careful. So um, material opulence can be there. It's not that it should not be there, but it should not become the cause of entanglement. Uh, so we should always remember Yukta Vairagya. And we should definitely not do more than required with people who are attached to, tongue and genitals. We should just keep safe distance from them. Like I said, if they can be avoided, then it's the best. But if they cannot be, then yeah, transactionally as much or as less as required, we should engage. And again, see, we should note the power of association, right? So association with such people pulls us down. Association of advanced devotees pulls us up. So we have to decide saying that which way we want to go. And yeah, everything is a matter of choice. Mm, so our association decides what we become, what we will become. Mm, many times devotees, um, yeah, sometimes we have to make tough choices. We have to make a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. What kind of people we associate with, even amongst devotees. Many times we think that it's offensive to be discriminating, but no, Rupa Goswami is talking about three types of devotees: Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, and he also talks about association with like-minded devotees. Now, this again, we had discussed this long time back, like-minded devotees. Now, suppose I want to practice Krishna consciousness very strictly, then I should associate with those devotees who also want to follow very strictly. If I want to practice Krishna consciousness casually, then I should associate with those devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness casually. Right now, if this mixes up, then it becomes a big problem. Right now, if somebody who is wanting to practice seriously gets into serious association with people who are casual, I mean, so somebody wants to be serious and others want to be casual, and then the person who wants to be serious will feel really difficult. It will be very difficult, and especially if the people who want to be casual are, know ahead of us in bhakti in terms of maybe position, etc., etc., then it will be seen as the standard to remain casual in bhakti. And then somebody who comes, mm, says, I want to be serious in bhakti, will find it very difficult. And I mean, in one way, we can say neither of them are wrong because everybody has their own propensities and their pace at which they are going to make progress. um, right? But obviously, from a neutral point of Shastra, serious, sincere devotion is what Srila Prabhupada talks about. So, in one sense, even those who are not so serious, when they look at some devotee who is serious and wanting to make progress, they should ideally respect them and give them place, space. But many times it doesn't happen, and it causes a challenge. I'm just giving one example of like-minded association. There could be many. For example, somebody wants to learn Mridanga should be in the association of people who do Kirtan. I mean, if like that, somebody who wants to preach, he or she should be in the association of preachers. Mm. So like that, we have to be in the association of like-minded devotees, and only then actually we can make progress with enthusiasm. Otherwise, we'll just be like Krishna consciousness just becomes like mechanical. But there's no point in being mechanical in Krishna consciousness because that's what we've been in material life so many lifetimes. And Krishna consciousness is supposed to pull us out of that. Now, if Krishna consciousness also becomes mechanical, then what is the point? So, association of devotees. So when we are down, someone else will pull us up. When they are down, we can pull them up. Mm, Right? But it has to be like-minded because among like-minded devotees, so I will know what will touch the other person's heart because we are like-minded. So then I can help that person when that person is difficulty to pull that person up. So very, very important. Prabhupada, that is why, some of these statements we have to keep thinking again and again. Mm. Foolish people we should not associate. न तथास्य भवेन्मोहो बन्धश्चान्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगाद्यथो पुंसो यथा तत्संगी संगतः. The infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is one very powerful verse. Uh, a man, the attachment that he develops or accrues to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. Right? Meaning this whole attraction between the sexes, genders is the most powerful form of infatuation and bondage. Most powerful form of infatuation and bondage. Mm. Uh, so we have to be really, really careful about this, and which is why this gender mixing has to be very carefully dealt with. Unfortunately, again, this is something that we don't take it so seriously. We take it very lightly. This gender mixing is very dangerous. Is very dangerous, and we've seen so many instances in our own history of ISKCON how these things have resulted in fall down. Sannyasis have fallen down. Um, right? Because it's the most powerful form of infatuation and bondage. So we have to be really, really careful, and that's the reason we keep repeatedly discussing about how to look at family on the spiritual platform because otherwise we'll get stuck on the bodily platform. I mean, even today I see helping some devotees find spouses like marriage. We are trying to help devotees and irrespective, people just come up with saying, "I want good looks." I mean, uh, so yeah, it's not like but we have to understand. But yeah, one argument can be, see, if good looks are not there, then my whole life, how can I be attracted to that person? Which means that we are completely on the bodily platform. So we should understand saying that, yeah, I'm so badly stuck on the bodily platform. Um, I'm very happy to say that one girl who was actually taking some guidance from me. She was so surrendered and she just said, Prabhu, if you think that the person is spiritually qualified to guide me for the rest of my life, I'm happy to marry that person. You decide. I don't even want to see the boy. And I said, like, this is amazing. And that girl is so surrendered, and I'm confident that with that mood, she will make progress irrespective of whatever difficulties comes in her life, right? But when we are too much on the bodily platform, I mean, it's just a small problem. It's just showing where we stand, right? Which means we are on the bodily platform, which means that that kind of an approach will result in so many other complications that we'll have to deal with as we make progress, as we move ahead, right? So it's very, very important that we don't give too much importance to this body. We should not. I mean, it's expected that we don't. And then we get reasons like, I'm going to dress nicely because gopis also dress like that. Yeah, I mean, let's not, like, we are comparing one, like dirt on the road with the moon. I mean, we cannot even understand or begin to understand the mood of the gopis. So these are just, yeah, some things we have heard and which we can give as reasons for our bodily attachment. That's all. Mm. Gopis don't have an iota of bodily attachment. Right. I mean, everything that they do is purely for the pleasure of Krishna, and we are far from that. So we shouldn't simply, bring them into the picture. But it's very, very important that even, like devotees don't get, and even, mostly at least I try to do this. If I'm talking to Matajis, if it's something important topic, I generally prefer that, Mataji's husband is also there. Unfortunately, in some cases, where husbands are not Krishna conscious, we will have to engage, but very much to the point, just as much as is required. Hmm. Because it's very important to actually, this is very, very important. And even I make it a point that even if husband and wife are sitting, I normally don't speak looking at the Mataji too much. Right? I mean, generally it's a tendency, right? I mean, I'm not as qualified as maybe other devotees, and so I have to make sure that I protect myself, because it's very easy to get stuck with these things, right? But then we'll just lose the pace of progress that we are doing, etc. Everything gets affected. So it's very contaminating. See, attachment to women is so contaminating that one becomes attached to the condition of material life, not only by the association of women, but by the contaminated association of persons who are too attached to women, right? So it's not just direct association, but even indirect association. And I mean, is there anybody who's not too attached? Yeah, I mean, except for devotees who are advanced, pretty much everybody is stuck in this, right? There are many reasons for our conditional life in the material world, but the topmost of all such causes is the association of women, as will be confirmed in the following stanzas. In Kali Yuga, association with women is very strong. In every step of life, there's association with women. If a person goes to purchase something, the advertisements are full of pictures of women. The physiological attraction for women is very great, and therefore people are very slack in spiritual understanding. The Vedic civilization, being based on spiritual understanding, arranges association with women very cautiously. Out of the four social divisions, members of the first order, Brahmacharya, third order, Vanaprastha, and fourth order, Sannyas, are strictly prohibited from female association. Only in one order, the householder is there license to mix with women under restricted conditions. In other words, attraction for women's association is the cause of the material conditional life. And anyone interested in being freed from this conditional life must detach himself from the association of women. Of course, I mean, as preachers, inevitably we have to deal with that. But other men, you have to be very, very careful. If you're not preaching, better not interact with other women. And of course, see, women, why is it not being talked about from a women, ladies' perspective? Because ladies are generally not going to just go and talk to some era gara, stranger. Right? I mean, it's a part of, at least Indians can understand this. This is a very natural. It comes naturally, right? But men don't exercise so much discretion. Generally, very casual. Is go and talk to anybody. So the purport is actually more targeted at men because uh, they are not. They don't seem to be so strong, or their tendencies are not possibly so clean. So purport is actually talking about this. Verse is also talking about, um, um, and in general, the Vedic civilization gave protection to women. So there is always less worry um, for women. But of course, today's modern culture is all like gone, right? Um, yeah, and generally we might say, no, no, it doesn't never, not doesn't happen like that with anybody. No, we should always be. I mean, Shastra says that one should not even be alone with his own mother, sister, daughter. What about others' wives, right? So it's a very important consideration, and it's important that we actually try to follow this. And that is why there's separation. Why did Prabhupada? I mean, just imagine, why did Prabhupada introduce all this? And where in the West, right, saying that Mataji should sit separately and men and women should sit separately. I mean, it's unimaginable. It's simply unimaginable. But there's a serious reason why he did that. Mm. On only those initial days when, matchless gift where there was all very new people and there's not even really place to separate out. But subsequently, everywhere, Prabhupada made sure that this separation is there. Mm. So these things are important. We shouldn't think that we are become so advanced. Um, Obviously, if we were so advanced, we wouldn't have, so we wouldn't have been we would not be attracted towards the other opposite sex. So it's important to. Um, the other day in one of the programs, there was some bunch of Matajis who were sitting behind the Kirtan team, and which was on the Prabhu side. And I just requested all of them to please move on the Mataji side. And they were like, some of them are staring at me, saying that what is the problem? We want to sit here and do Kirtan, but it's not correct. It's simply not correct. Mm. So these things have to be respected. Of course, now the big question, right, controversial question is about women dancing, and I've addressed this many times before. You go and ask any person from a middle class family in India, even today, would that lady go and dance outside in public? He will say no. But this is our so-called advancement, right, of the section of society which today thinks that women who think that they can just dance in public in front of everybody. It just shows, Prabhupada says, it just shows our degradation. And we might argue saying that, oh no, it is all bhakti. Yeah, absolutely. Matajis can have their own satsang and they can dance, right? And in fact, uh, yeah, I mean, these things are all very controversial topics, and uh, people don't understand. But we know where it's going to end up, right? So we have to be very, very careful with these things. Um, Not just assume that we are so advanced that anything and everything is okay. Uh, I've seen like I mean where to what extent these things go. Like other Mataji sitting behind like Prabhu is riding a two-wheeler and then somebody else is sitting. Is not married to that person. And these things happen. And in the name of what service? I mean, come on. I am sure there are other ways to solve such problems, right? Uh, so generally, at least I make it a point if Matajis are sitting with me alone, I generally request them to sit behind. It might look odd, but it's important, right? So I'll just joke saying that, I'm your driver, you can please sit at the back. Because these things are important. We've not these rules have not been given to us just like that. There is reason. There is reason, and we better be careful. We better be careful, right? Why otherwise Bhagavatam will be talking about the infatuation and bondage as being the strongest. When it is so, we better protect ourselves, right? Because it's so difficult to get onto the path of bhakti, and then some silly thing can just mm, create problems. Of course, I mean even elsewhere it is said that the beauty, especially one should not associate with beautiful women. It's even dangerous because it's just enticing, right? So these things are there. Especially men have to be very, very careful. Um, we shouldn't, at least this one. mm, I've seen so many issues. So it's better, we just protect ourselves by doing the right things. And if we teach people these, for example, in our center in Hulimau, I mean, people are very, very clear, right? Because these things are things that we practice. So even if somebody is getting into the car, normally Mataris don't sit in front. It's just simple. It's no nothing odd about it. It's just the practice, right? So it just helps. It just helps so that we are protected and we all can make actual spiritual progress. Yeah, I mean when we reach that stage where we stopped seeing, we have stopped being on the bodily conception. Yeah, let's get there and then discuss these things. But at this point of time, where we are, it's better we just uh, respect these, uh, you know, practices. So we protect ourselves and make progress. Yeah, okay. So I'll stop there. Sorry, controversial topic, but what can I do? Bhagavatam is speaking. Yeah, any thoughts? No thoughts, no questions. Okay, we can close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pranebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavandi ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.